Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're doing well. This is EDC for Fun. My name is Dennis. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're taking a look at the Biblio XL. This knife is coming to us from Giant Mouse, their Ace line. It's rocking Elmax steel, green canvas micarta scales, a beautiful crown back spacer made out of brass with some jimping. Also has some jimping on this beautifully crowned spine. Look at that stonewash blade. This is a sick EDC knife, work knife, all around awesome pocket knife. I've had it for a few weeks and I love it. The first one I got sucked just up front. That was a QC issue. Big shout out to White Mountain Knives. Justin, thank you so much. I got the knife in, and the very first flip, it just failed, the flipper. I can't even fill this one on accident. I probably can. But yeah, it did one of those. And it was like, okay, but was that a fluke? I did it again. It failed. And I went ahead and closed it and did one of these. And you see how this one, the way the detent gets sucked in at the end, right? There's an actual detent. Well, the last one didn't do that at all. The blade just kind of flopped out. And when you shook it, of course, it would come out. This one, you got to whip really hard to get out of there, but it actually has a detent. So the thumb hole, the flipper, reverse flick, all that stuff works really well, but the first one, not so much. So when I reached out to Justin, I said, hey man, some kind of issue with the detent here. Explain what was going on. He said, hey, send it back. And he said, I asked him if he had any others in stock, if he could check the detent. He said he had a couple, but that the centering was off. I said, go ahead and send it. So the blade centering is definitely favoring the show side, which kind of sucks, but I would rather have an off-center blade than a blade with no detent. So yeah, now that I've been rocking this guy, despite its flaws, I freaking love this thing. It's extremely comfortable. It's very fun. It is a really, really good knife. I love the way the back has this hump here. It goes right into your palm, whether you're in a hammer grip or if you're in a utility cut kind of grip. Everything just melds into your hand really, really nicely. Even the indexing, I like the indexing. If you have really large or really small hands, you're probably not going to like that. But this backside here, pinky just goes right on there, these two fingers in there, and then index finger in there. And of course you have this hump, and also we have 3D contouring this way as well. It's really, really nice. Very, very comfortable design. If you wanted to, you could choke up on there like that. Got a big old choil there, and that is for sharpening. You can see the plunge grind is all the way back here. That's done really well too. So the blade stays really, really thin. You can get a lot of sharpening life out of this guy. It's got a really nice stonewash finish. Stonewash definitely hides scratches a lot more, but it doesn't mean your blade is impervious to scratches. I've got a couple there on the tip. I was digging around in the dirt trying to cut some roots up and stuff and scrape some rocks. Got some other scratches on this side here. You can kind of see, it's hard to see on camera, from like cutting cardboard and stuff like that. But yeah, this guy's made to work, and I've been putting it to work, and it works really, really well. It's got really good action on it, running on bearings. I do need to take it apart and clean it out because it does have some dirt and other gunk from working with it out in the garden, but the action is really nice. I already said the ergos are awesome. All the hardware is T8, which is sick. I love having T8 hardware. That means just one tool needed, although the pivot's not captive, so you might need two T8s depending on how tight that is, or if you need to do some fine tuning there. But yeah, you've got a lanyard hole in the brass back spacer, which looks sick. I mean, it's just super, super cool. Excellent finish. They could have just done, titanium or whatever, and that would have been nice, but this little pop of gold just looks awesome. So yeah, I think it's super nice. Got a really tall flat grind on there. You can see it's almost a full flat grind, but not quite. It stops right around here. So it's really slicey. Definitely goes through materials with no problem. The factory edge on this guy was actually pretty decent. I stropped it, and it is, very, very sharp. But all the bevels, everything is very nice and even. And yeah, I'm really impressed with the factory sharpening there. I think the finishing around the opening hole is actually really good. Sometimes when you have a blade with a stonewash or tumbled finish or whatever, it knocks down the edges on that hole too much, and then you lose a little bit of traction. So when you're trying to deploy it, your finger might slip off. But this one, they didn't go too far with the tumbling. It's not sharp. It's a little bit rounded, but it's just enough you can get some grip on there. So whether you're thumb flicking or reverse flicking, if you're reverse flicking with your nail or even the pad of your finger, it works perfectly. And yeah, my hand just locks right in right away. I love this knife. We'll go ahead and get some measurements out of the way real quick. Closed, this guy's looking at about 4.5 inches. Open, we're at about 7.5 inches. Cutting edge is right around 3 inches. Inner grip from here to here is going to be about 3 5/8 inches. Compare it in size real quick to the Urban EDC f5.5. This is a Jasper Voxnase design, so obviously you can see the family resemblance a little bit in the blade, and of course in that forward jimping there, that Vox style jimping. I love seeing that. This one's also got some on the back spacer. Let's see, we've got a pair of 3, and we've also got the PM2. So you can see it's right in between those two, closer to the PM2 than it is the smaller size. But I think this is a very nice size EDC knife, which is funny because they call it the XL. It's not really XL. It's bigger than the original Biblio, which I've always wanted, never pulled the trigger on. I'm glad I waited and got this one, because even though it's not a true XL knife, it is bigger than the original, like I said, and I really prefer this size. So happy that they did that. The flipper tab on this guy, by the way, is excellent. You've also got jimping on the top there as well as on the side. So whether you light switch or you push button, it works really well. I'll try that push button again because my finger was in a weird position. There you go. Yep, light switch. And yeah, super fun. Really enjoying this guy. We'll go ahead and get this thing torn down and cleaned up real quick. I'm going to see if maybe I can get that off-centered blade straightened up. And yeah, here we go. Get our first look inside here. So you can see we've got a steel, actually I assume it's steel. Yeah, steel liner. And is an inset liner, so you can see the way this micarta scale is milled out, so that liner just nestles right in there. Alright, we do have 2 pins back here on the brass back spacer. You can see our bearings and a little bit of schmutz in there. We do have a steel washer, which is nested inside the steel liner, so the bearings do ride on that washer. So this is really nice. We have a detent ramp here. So as the detent ball, which is on the locking tab here, is disengaged, once that blade spins over, there's a little bit of a ramp there, so it just makes the transition from locked to unlocked that much smoother. I really appreciate stuff like that. All right, now we've got it all cleaned up, we'll go ahead and put a little bit of KPL on the bearings and get her back together. Okay, we are rocking and rolling. Everything's back together. Action is super solid. Detent is intact. The centering is still off a little bit. I'm willing to overlook that. It definitely sucks, but it's such a great knife that I'm willing to deal with it because it's not like it rubs or anything like that. The action is actually amazing and the detent is perfect. So yeah, bummer, but it is what it is. I really like this knife a lot. I'm going to continue carrying and using this thing, keeping it in the rotation. And if you guys have any questions about it, just hit me up. Leave me a like and a comment. Well, by the way, while you're here, subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, let me know what you think about Giant Mouse. Do you like the Biblio XL? I'm loving it. Might not be your cup of tea, but it's definitely up my alley. Super fun, super functional, fidgety knife. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I hope you have a fantastic day. God bless you guys. See ya.